So the next part is going to be your DM toolkit for
making a horror campaign come real.
Yeah.
Going to go over a few things: curses, fear, stress, and survivors.
Yep.
And way those interact. So the first one is curses, which is one of the most important tools in any horror campaign. Is the fear of curses and the use of curses.
Yeah. I mean, even look at movies. Thinner. The old woman cursed him, and he started to get thinner and thinner until he was gonna die. And he had to, in order for him to get rid of the curse, he had to pass it on to somebody.
Or the mummy's curse. You crack the open of the seal on their tomb, and now you're cursed because you woke them up. And now in 1 day, you waste away to nothing, and you die. You desiccate and die.
Yeah, so applying a curse to someone and giving them a burden, a detriment effect. And how do they get rid of this? How are they going to find the information to get rid of it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you have to get rid of it? And how are they going to get to this place or to the event to get rid of it?
Right. And the placing a curse should be something that should be in every one of the campaigns, right? This should happen in them, or the idea that they will happen. Hey, we don't go to that graveyard because it's cursed. Hey, we don't want to kill that thing because anytime anybody's killed it, it comes back through that person.
And stronger.
Stronger. These curses need to be added to a campaign to definitely up that suspense. Or there's no curses, but because everybody believes there's no curse, then everybody might believe there is or the players might believe there is a curse because you're like, every single one of these people say, yeah, everything's fine, everything's good. Like, what happened yesterday? What are you talking about? Use these curses, and definitely they need to hit them with a detriment. Something needs to affect the players so they go, oh crap.
Yeah,
we gotta fix this.
Maybe they get bit by a werewolf, and there's no whoever failed the saving throw, they get the abilities, but the detriment of that is that the full moon's about to come, and they will literally go crazy and attack the closest person nearby, even if it's their party members.
Yeah, they have no control, complete rage and uncontrollable animal. I mean, but it needs to be significant. One of the examples they have in there is a broken vow, and you get 3 levels of exhaustion, which is absolutely horrible for any player to actually deal with, which is another thing people need to add more into these campaigns. But use that. Make that a curse, or where, cursed magic items also have their thing, but now you can say that they bestow a curse upon somebody. Not just, I can't drop this. It doesn't go away. I'm stuck with it. It's like, no, I can't drop this, and now my arm's super tight, which means I can't manipulate things as how I'm supposed to anymore.
Right.
And you have to figure out a way of getting rid of this. And most of these curses cannot be lifted by the spell Remove Curse. That they do not function that way. You have to get rid of them through the specific way they want you to get rid of them.
Yeah, or the specific way that DM has figured out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the detriments, not all of them are 3 levels of exhaustion. Some of them you just have disadvantage on certain ability checks or attack rolls, or
you might randomly slip.
Yeah, or so randomly you'll just fall prone, or whenever you take damage, you also take an extra D10 of necrotic damage for some reason.
Yeah, and in fact, this might be one of the rare cases that you can add levity to your campaign. They get cursed with something that's funny, so it's a counterpoint to all the horror they're dealing with. You have something in here that is funny, and now the funny is also annoying because they're like, I'm dealing with this horde of undead, but for whatever reason I'm hearing a clown and honking its noise. Like, well, that's horrifying to some people, but it could be funny, that they have to deal with that, but it's still, now it's horrifying that they have to deal with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Pennywise right there. It's like, oh, that's funny until he turns into that monster that's trying to rip
Yeah.
your arm off and eat your face.
But that's one little overview of curses, and that's definitely something that should be used
Within the campaign that you're going to be driving.
Definitely has something in there with that. Fear and seeds. This is kind of
Fear and stress.
Fear and stress, sorry. And the seeds of fear.
Seeds of fear.
So you're wanting to plant something in there that's afraid, which this goes to the very beginning when you like understand what your players are afraid of.
Well, yeah. Earlier we were talking about what your characters are afraid of. Like, do they have a phobia? Mm-hmm. Are you going to present this phobia in the campaign at some point? Are they going to have to deal with this? What does their character do when they come in contact with this?
Yeah. How are they going to react? Are they going to scream? Are they going to run? Or what are they going to do? And another thing they go into this is about fear and here. Courage, everybody's afraid, right? And also the counterpoint of that is courage. It's not, and they would want you to believe it in this book, not believe, but use it as courage is not the lack of fear, it's the overcoming of fear. Like right. You are afraid, just how do you react in situations? What a lot of this is about is getting past that fear.
Yeah, are you making your characters do, wisdom checks or, constitution checks to try and overcome this fear? Like maybe when their fear happens, okay, well, you basically gain the frightened condition. And until you make a wisdom save, then you're frightened until you get over this. You can
add the mechanics of this in there, which, there's several things here. Or maybe the thing you're afraid of might effectively charm you because you're so afraid of it, you'll do whatever they say. No matter what. You will listen to the exact word that they say because if not, it'll get you.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things you could play off of with fear.
All right, and stress. So stress can build up, and you want your players to be stressed and have that feeling. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to cause exhaustion, but it can get to that extreme. Where
but the stress could be that they are powerless to stop something from happening, or they're low on resources. And something's coming after them, and they're like, listen, we just don't have what we need to deal with this thing. We really, to just survive, we have to run and we have to hide. Yeah,
and they need to do something that reduces that stress to get rid of it. Because you can add different detriments to them for this. It's a way to play up more, because you need to build that for them to be frightened. Something needs to keep them at this heightened state and slowly eat away at them.
And, maybe one of the curses goes into that. So, like, if someone was bit by the lycanthropy, they couldn't figure out how to get rid of the curse before the full moon. Well, now you got to lock your friend up, and you guys have a session where it's literally you trying to keep your friend tamed, not hurt him or herself or others, and it's literally y'all just fighting that person and trying to keep them knocked out or asleep or just safe.
Right. The next thing is going in they add in haunted traps. So these are just some things for the DM to use to add into that horror moment of different traps. You're not getting hit by darts in the wall. You're losing your face.
Or what if
you're not dead? You just don't have a face anymore.
What if there's an invisible creature and the only way you can attack them is you have to look into a mirror because you can see them in the mirror, but you have to get at the right angle to be able to do it.
Yeah, and just add more, traps, a different idea, something you could play off of, and also it gives you the idea of how to change up basic traps to add more of that fear.
Yeah, what if they're in a hallway and bam, two gelatinous cubes pop in, and now they're both going at the player characters, and it's like, oh, well, we can't run away. We're in a hallway. We have to figure out a way to deal with these things.
Yeah.
Or at least one of them.
And then last most interesting bit is survivors. And these are NPCs that you deal with that are common people thrown into horrifying situations and live. So these are interesting NPCs where they're not necessarily your minion, but they might follow you around. They get actual abilities you can use in the stat block, but they're important bits of information that players can find. Most of this is for the DM to use, right? Survivors are going to be one of the things that players can actually get involved with, and maybe they actively try to find survivors.
Yeah, because maybe somebody's wife or husband was killed, and now the spouse wants to join the crusade. Like, yeah, we got to take the Dark Lord down. I am with you. Yeah. Like, what do I need to do? I'm going to join. We're going to get rid of them.
And he knows the one place that the Dark Lord might be, away from his hold or its hold.
Yeah, or he or she is the only way to get to the Dark Lord through whatever magical barrier he's put up, but you have to keep this person alive in order to get through.
Or maybe they're just a hanger-on. You can also use these as a detriment, too. Like, yeah, these are survivors, but now these are people you want to keep alive.
They follow you around because they're so afraid of death, and they think the only way to stay alive is to be near you.
Yeah, so now you have this girl that screams every time there's a problem, which, hey, thanks, I'm glad we know, but now you also let everything else in the area know that we're here. She's very perceptive, but that doesn't mean that's great all the time. So this is another thing to add. Like, also, maybe you start out with a large group of survivors and they're slowly getting picked off. And hey, your villain might be in the middle of these survivors. You didn't know it.
Or what if the village was sacrificing people and you took the person? Now the Dark Lord wants his sacrifice, so you're protecting that person. So now the Dark Lord's coming after you, or one of his lieutenants or minions is coming after you because he wants his sacrifice. He wants his person.
So these are great tools to use for the campaign. Things that are going to help you embellish the environment, help you move the story along, and add emphasis to certain parts of this story, this campaign, that you want to definitely go, ha, this is what you should be afraid of. Or, oh no, you're screwed. These help you get that feeling when you need it.
Next part of the book is there's a short little adventure, and it's good. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, I read through it all, looked into it, and it definitely would be a very interesting campaign to run, or not campaign, little one shot to run or starting. Don't want to give too much away, but
it gets you from levels 1 to 3,
and it's very confined. A lot of interaction with the party and the environment they're in, and not everything might turn out okay. So
yeah, it's definitely a good introductory adventure for this campaign setting.
Yes. Also, they added monsters in here that help with some of those tropes and some of the things we're missing, some upgraded versions, some older monsters.
I mean, they go all the way from a half CR to like CR 21 or 22.
Yeah. So, don't want to get into those too much, but they're cool.
It's something fun for the DM to use for sure.
A couple of things maybe that just as critiques that I think they missed is, so they got into one thing that I thought they would miss that I wanted them to see is the creation and how maybe some of these monsters happen. Like how does a vampire really become a vampire? Or a werewolf, how does it actually happen? Or mummy, get into these tropes a little bit more to understand how they exist in 5th edition and what their life cycle effectively is. Like, how does a vampire go from being a little bloodling all the way up to a greater vampire? Maybe what's that aspect become? And they don't really get into a lot of that. Actually, they don't get into it at all.
Well, I mean, I feel like they don't get into that because everybody has different interpretations of that and how it may or may not have happened.
Yeah,
and, it's up to the DM to choose how he or she wanted that to happen.
But that's one thing that they could have done in this particular setting, because this is the perfect time to get into something like this. Hey, this is how this could have progressed.
Yeah.
Not exactly what it did. It's a good example of how does a mummy then become a mummy lord.
Yeah, well, I feel like they could have had a small chart
Yeah.
that said, these are reasons why a mummy could have become a mummy lord. These are reasons why a ghoul could have turned into a ghoul lord. These are reasons why a vampire is now a greater vampire.
Because that's also one of the tropes of it's like, well, if you're too far gone, we can't save you. Well, if you've just been bitten by a vampire, maybe there's a way we can reverse it. You know, if you just got hit with lycanthropy, maybe there's a way we can reverse it. Or you just became undead, you know, maybe there's a way we can maybe we can keep your memories there.
Yeah.
And knowing the progression of these things might give players some options in what they can do. And especially the DMs are like, well, how far gone is this thing?
Yeah, or it would have been nice to have like a build your own monster section.
Well, they touch on to it a little bit on your monstrosity and what you would build it, but yeah, they don't necessarily have like in Theros.
Right.
You know, Theros
build
had
your own
that,
chimera.
Yeah, which I would love to have seen in this, especially for one of the particular domains in here, which would have been perfect for, which I guess we'll talk about some of each domain that we really enjoy.
Right.
My domain was Lamordia. A lot of people don't like this one, but I love it because this is the Frankenstein domain. That's what this is supposed to be. The Dark Lord here is effectively Frankenstein. She creates monsters. She's already created the perfect monster that she believes, but it got away. And now she can't find that monster, and it keeps eluding her. And she's creating more monsters to find that monster. So this domain, at any time, anything can show up. You don't have to have a single reason why this monster is here, because you can just say it's a crazy experiment done by the Dark Lord.
Yeah. But see, I did a little bit of reading online why some people didn't like this domain, and it's because they rather it just be the old traditional, hey, Dr. Frankenstein, he created, his wife, and his wife was, the Frankenstein, or, more original, he just created some Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And like the fact that they changed it up, they don't like it. But
this is so fun and unique because this is playing into magic as science we don't understand, and that's what this is. This is a science gone wrong domain where
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Some of that's in here too. I mean, it has that. Well, it's all magic to us, but yet this person is creating these alchemical things and robots and all this weird stuff constantly. And this person is her Mordenheim, Dr. Mordenheim. She's a absolute genius on what she creates. She just creates horrible entities instead of using it for what she could be. So what players can deal with in here is the constant dread of, what am I going to find? Everything's unique here. We don't ever know what we're going to deal with. Yeah. Or worse, the doctor gets a hold of you. The doctor's going to use you for experiments. You might not come out the same, which might be fun. You might all end up being heads in a jar and implemented on new bodies.
Oh, that would be crazy.
So there's so many crazy twists you can do with this one domain that I think a lot of people are, not paying attention to or just ignoring. This is crazy change that can happen all the time.
Oh yeah. But I mean, not to mention, if you don't like the fact that they changed a man into a woman or whatever, change it to what you do like. It's Dungeons and Dragons. You're allowed to change this world however you see fit, however you want.
Yeah, it's your canon.
Yeah, just because it's written in the book doesn't mean you can't change it.
Yeah, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. In fact, you could, if you really wanted to, especially for trans people, you could say Dr. Mordenheim was a man to begin with, and she's
a woman now.
She's a woman now. She's gone through her process and changed. There's lots of ways to even make it more applicable to everybody out there.
But just change it to wherever you want.
Yeah, do what you want. It's fine. That's the one.
Weird science.
Yeah, because something about crazy science seems fun to me.
Yeah, and I kind of like the carnival, the little traveling carnival that can actually show up into other domains. But also, I like the fact that you could just, be like, listen, I'm not down with this place. I'm going into the mist, and instead of getting lost in the mist, you find the carnival.
Yeah.
And maybe the carnival is a happy, fun place the first day you're in it, and then it turns into a nightmare scenario where you're chasing down Pennywise, or you're chasing down some random like skeleton monster with a sword that's literally hacking people up and dragging them off back into the mist.
Or the worst, you're becoming part of the carnival. You are now becoming the attraction of the carnival. You're now the bearded woman, and you can't figure out a way to get away. But now all these new people keep coming in, but you're somehow trapped here.
That would be kind of funny. It's like, come, look, we found a human. Look at the human. Because everybody in the carnival is usually like typically something else.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually play it off as that everybody in this carnival now is you're seeing demons and angels and celestial things. All these outsiders, they're coming to this carnival to see the normal people.
Yeah.
Or it's all mind flayers or something crazy,
Oh, man.
But it's run by, the interesting one is that Dark Lord used to be a paladin. That's the Dark Lord of this realm, is a paladin with a Holy Avenger. So
good luck getting that from him.
Yeah, it's her.
Good luck getting that from her.
Yeah, it's an interesting bit of possible redemption.
Yeah,
it's.
Imagine if you go and get the carnival to travel back to where you were, and using them to fight the Dark Lord of the domain you're in.
Yeah, I mean, could
maybe you could figure out a way to get in good with them and get them to care enough.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it's interesting. The carnival's pretty cool. I enjoy that one.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff you could do with the carnival. It could just be like, okay, we've had a lot of horror. Now we just want to have like a relaxation, fun session, and then it's going to come back into something else.
Yeah. So here's an idea I had. If you want to take something from that's not normal part of this genre, take it from another entity and bring it in here. Here's one idea I had. Now, you've probably seen in this video, and in a lot of videos, we have models showing description of things. This is a model from the Warhammer 30K universe.
40K?
30K. This is Horus Heresy.
Oh,
he's a Primarch. And this is effectively evil Batman. And in the story he did is on the planet that he was trapped on, he, in order to stop evildoers, instead of capturing them, well, he would flay them alive, stake them, blood eagle them. This place is all overrun by gangs and evil people at the top, corrupt officials taking bribes or just horrible acts.
Almost like a Gang of New York kind of style.
Yeah, gone completely, just full tilt evil. Everywhere on this place, everybody survives by doing bad things. Well, my idea is to play off of that. This whole realm is people surviving by bad things, and this Dark Lord is the one that is constantly doing the justice of this realm. He's the good entity trying to stop it. But his ways are completely brutal. And if you're the one found doing the bad, you are now on his radar. He might not be coming for you now, but he's going to be coming for you later. Because now you've ripped off people. Now you've killed people you weren't supposed to kill. You're not supposed to murder. That's a law. You're not supposed to steal. That's a law. You're not supposed to go through the turnstile forwards. You have to go backwards. That's a law. There's lots of ways you can build upon that and create that sense of like, oh no, it's coming. And hear about the gang that's over here that just got wiped out. And only one guy's left. And he's only left because he came to tell you that he's coming. And in fact, that guy blows up because he had a fireball, a time fireball inside his body that goes boom and blows him up. So that's my idea, to build that.
A domain of dread with him.
Yeah, using Conrad Cruz. If you ever looked into any of the 40K stuff and 30K stuff, fantastic writing. But the idea of justice taken too far, the idea of trying to make things absolutely good and pacified, and everybody is playing by the same rules. It's fair. Nobody's getting screwed. But the methods in which to do it's just so interesting because he does it. And by the end of his story, before he gets found by the Emperor, if you ever look into that, his planet and other 2 planets that they were traveling to, 100% pacified, 0 crime, nothing was going wrong. Everybody was good.
Yeah. Nobody wants to get blood eagled.
But that was before like 20 or 30 years of pure horror. So that's our ideas.
Yeah. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep. Hit that bell notification. Let us know what you think. Maybe you got some other crazy ideas for Domains of Dread or something else out there in movies, books that you've read about. Put that down in the comments. Share that. Let's build a community around this and help other people have fun with this setting.
Yep. And until then, guys, keep rolling them nat ones.